Okay, so I did a previous video on Australians are sick of the Aboriginal industry, and I just did a video on Indigenous people are sick of the Aboriginal industry, and I did try and keep them very brief as part of this channel's ethos. So I will do here and there a longer video of just personal opinion, trying to wrap up some of these issues. Now, the first video got a lot of attention, and also it's wrapped up around in Australia Day. But what really is at heart of this is, as a country, we are not being honest as a country. Okay, so when we do these acknowledgements to country, we don't acknowledge the country. When we acknowledge traditional owners, we don't acknowledge traditional owners. When we talk about smoking ceremonies and the like, we don't respect the culture of Indigenous people. Okay, how do we know this? I'll tell you. First of all, we're a genocidal country. Australia is a genocidal country. End of story. You have to put up with that. It's a fact. Facts are facts. As somebody told me, I'm not going to use his name, without, I'm not calling him out or anything. I try and chat to different people from Indigenous people, and the facts are the facts. That's it. You can't just deal with it. That's what was said about connections to land. That's the fact. And we have to deal with it. What is the fact that we have to deal with? The stolen generation was not just some government program. When you talk about ad nauseum the Holocaust, talk about ad nauseum certain people are dictators and genocidal, that's us. Geneva Convention has two limbs for genocide. In other words, two ways you can have genocide. And the second limb is if you remove children from their cultural spot and raise them in another culture. That is genocide. Genocide is the worst crime against humanity. Full stop. They're the facts. How do we deal with it? We don't. We ignore it. We said sorry in Parliament. When my kid says sorry, honestly, I'll be personal here. When one of my children say sorry, and they're older, they're like teenagers and older, if they say sorry, I don't accept it. There's no sorry. What's sorry? You did it. You did it. That's it. Don't ask sorry. You did it. You broke that. You took that. You did that wrong. Don't say sorry. I'm not going to absolve you of it. Don't do it again. So when Kevin Rudd says sorry in Parliament, what does it mean? Nothing? Because the policies are still going on. Since then, we had a Northern Territory intervention, right? And we did the same thing again. Now I know what you're going to say because I'm partial to why it was done. I understand. It's not simple, but there's ways of going about it that are not colonial, right? There's ways of intervening that are not colonial. Empower local people to do what they have to do. Deputize them. Give them authority. Hey, why not create a child protection service completely controlled by the elders of each community? That would be the way to go, right? No, we need to centrally do it out of Brisbane. We need to centrally do it out of Darwin. See, these are examples of small policy changes that are not difficult to do, that show an actual regard for traditional leaders. So it's not, I acknowledge the leaders, past and present and emerging. No, you don't. No, you don't. What traditional leaders have power bestowed upon them by the government? None. There isn't one. I can't think of one. They have to literally carve it out themselves, and then they get smacked around by police if they try. I mean, we've got a guy up in Adani mines, literally camping out as a protest, which is one of the coolest protests you could think of, right? Because he's actually living out there and streaming from there. Does anyone even acknowledge it? No, because we don't acknowledge it. Instead, we get around a little circle and say, we're good people. We're good. We do the smoking ceremony, right? Here's the thing. Malcolm X said, and I say this time and time again, not everyone gets the point. Malcolm X said, beware the white liberal. So instead of white, we'll say non-Indigenous. So beware the non-Indigenous do-gooder. They're a wolf in sheep's clothing. See, I've been called racist. I've been called this and that. I've had it out directly with Aboriginal people in my community who've started crap with me first, and I give it back to them. Why? Because they're people. I'm a person. If you come at me, I'm going to come at you. I don't need to be differential just because you're Aboriginal. I don't need to be differential just because you're British. If you come at me, I'm going to come at you back. That's it. That's the bottom line. That's how you tell if someone's not racist. You know, you might remember there was a video of a woman in the Central Park who was doing all these do-gooder crap on TikToks and, all the frames and, blah, 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 BLM. And this really kind of autistic black guy, he came in to tell her off for letting the dog off the leash, and he was a bird watcher. So already that's a red flag. But anyway, he said, excuse me, the regulations stipulate that you... And she let him have it. Then she called the cops and told them she's being harassed and assaulted, quick come, by a black man, right? She was trying to weaponize the cops to come and shoot this guy. That's exactly what happened. She got fired and everything else, and it came out that, oh, yeah, no, she was a do-gooder. She loved it. So beware of that. And I don't know what the answer is. And you know what? I'm not supposed to know what the answer is. Anytime you see a non-Indigenous person doesn't identify the problem, just the solution that involves them. No, that's the Aboriginal industry. That's literally what it is. It's a bunch of non-Indigenous people getting together with, maybe you call them purple people, whatever. White on the inside, black on the outside. I don't know. These so-called spokespeople who don't care about their people, and they make money. They make money from this stuff, right? And then you're seeing all their people in poverty. All their people are poorly educated, right? All their people are this and that, right? And then the system goes, well, we're giving money, but the money's coming back to them. And the racist people are like, see, look, they're no good. And then the sycophantic, do-gooders are like, it's the system. You know what I mean? They're performative. They're not for real. There's a really great skit. And if anyone's got this file, look it up. And in Fitzroy, in Victoria, Brunswick, it's a very progressive place, and people have on their plaques that they acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on their houses. On their houses. So this really funny group, I don't remember their name now. They got dressed up looking somewhat traditional. I don't know, more of a caricature, but spears and painting and what have you. And they've knocked on the door, and they're like, "Here to claim the land." And they're like, "What?" And she's like, "Well, you say here, I'm the traditional owner. I'm here to claim the property." And she's like, no, but I can make you some tea." It's a funny, it's a really funny way to show the hypocrisy of our sort of system. So, and I blame, if you want to know who I blame for this, I call them the Whigs. So that's Labor, Greens, all of these parties, and I used to be really a lot like this. That's how I know. It's believe it or not, you get a worse outcome with these people than the colonial imperialistic people. Because at least the Tories or the Conservatives, because at least the Conservatives look at all of us as peasants. You know what I mean? They look at all of us as peasants and just cogs in a wheel of their control. Whereas the Whigs and that, like the Labor, all these sort of progressives, they look at us as needing their help. It's kind of a different thing. One group is like, "Hey, I'm better than you. Listen to what I have to say." And I was like, "I'm better than you. I'll help you with your problems." It's the same crap. And that one's worse because at least you've got a bit more of an even playing field, right? Over there. Over this way, if you're in a group that is being used to sort of justify their existence, then you're going to be perpetually a victim. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. All the best.